Assalamu alaikum and good morning everybody. Thank you to each and every one of you for being here with us today. My name is Amira Al-Balhouni. It's with great pleasure to welcome you all to the first international conference on innovation in information technology and business, organized by the Modern College of Business and Science. Under the patronage of His Excellency, Dr. Ali bin Amr al-Shaydani, the Undersecretary of the Ministry of Transport, Communications and Information Technology for Communications and Information Technology, our guest of honor and our first keynote speaker for today's ceremony. The conference will be carried on a hybrid format, allowing word-scattered academicians, researchers, and industry professionals to participate in this unique conference for Oman and the GCC region. The conference is a great opportunity to contribute to the contemporary implementation of cutting-edge research and development in the area of artificial intelligence, data science, machine learning, and Internet of Things, IoT, in the business environment. The conference is divided into three tracks, models and algorithms for business, business data science application, and data science challenges. Respected guests, on behalf of the Modern College of Business and Science, I would like to extend a warm welcome to His Excellency Dr. Ali bin Amr al-Shaydani, the Undersecretary of the Ministry of Transport, Communications and Information Technology for Communications and Information Technology. Now, we would listen to verses from the Holy Quran.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم.
إن الله لا يخفى عليه شيء في الأرض ولا في السماء هو الذي يصوركم في الأرحام كيف يشاء لا إله إلا هو العزيز الحكيم هو الذي أنزل عليك الكتاب منه آيات محكمات هن أم الكتاب وأخر متشابهات فأما الذين في قلوبهم زيغ فيتبعون ما تشابه منه ابتغاء الفتنة وابتغاء تأويله وما يعلم تأويله إلا الله والراسخون في العلم يقولون آمنا به كل من عند ربنا وما يذكر إلا أولو الألباب ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب.
Before we get started, I would like to express my sincere appreciation to Globecom and Osos Company, who generously helped us make this event become a success. We couldn't have done it without you. Thank you very much. Our guest of honor, respected guests. Now let's welcome Dr. Musa Al-Kindi, Dean of the Modern College of Business and Science, to address the audience.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين سيدنا محمد بن عبد الله وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. His Excellency Dr. Ali bin Amr al-Shaydani, Under-Secretary of the Ministry of Transport, Communication and Information Technology for Communication and Information Technology, our guest of honor, dear colleagues, Vice Chancellors and Deans of Higher Education Institutions, respected members of the Board of Governors, respected conference presenters, faculty, staff, and students of the Modern College of Business and Sciences and other universities and colleges, dear guests and audience, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It gives me great pleasure and honor to welcome you all to the International Conference on Innovation in Information Technology and Business, which will take place for 2 days. The Modern College of Business and Science is committed to involve academia in engaging with new trends and advances in industry and future directions. These planned professional research events help keep our faculty abreast with new developments and provide opportunities for collaboration across the globe. This conference is intended to act as an effective forum for the presentation of innovative ideas, approaches, developments, and research projects in the areas of models and algorithms for business, business data science, applications, and data science challenges. It is hoped that participants will be exposed to innovative ideas in how to tackle business challenges and identify future trends in data science and other related technology applications, and share the results of research and development in these and other areas covered by the conference. The conference is planned to engage both industry and academia. The conference has been expanded to include industry-invited participant presentations, which will highlight the latest advancements in data science applications worldwide. The conference is fortunate to invite two well-known keynote speakers, His Excellency Ali al-Shaydani and Dr. Ahmed al-Mashari from Sultan Qaboos University. The conference session will present papers from researchers from several countries, either virtually or face-to-face. Around 50 papers are accepted and scheduled for presentations in these 2 days. Once again, we are privileged for the patronage of His Excellency Ali bin Amr al-Shaydani and the keynote speakers and all the presenters, both face-to-face and online, and wish all a very fruitful and productive conference. Finally, I would like to express my sincere appreciation to my colleagues in the organizing committee and all volunteers for their devotion, contribution, and constant efforts to make this conference a success. A special word of appreciation for our sponsors, Globecom and USUS companies, for their visionary position in supporting this academic and research effort. Thank you all. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Thank you, Dr. Musa. We're so grateful to have His Excellency Dr. Ali bin Amr al-Shaydani, Under-Secretary of the Ministry of Transport, Communications and Information Technology for Communications and Information Technology, our guest of honor and first keynote speaker. His Excellency received his PhD in Electrical and Computer Engineering from the University of British Columbia, Canada. Before becoming the Under-Secretary of the Ministry of Transport, Communications and Information Technology for Communications and Information Technology in 2020, he held several positions, such as Group Vice President of Technology at ICIITB Group, Director of the Research Centers Department and Acting Director of the Institute of Advanced Technology Integration, as well as the Director of Communications and Information Technology Sector at the Research Council of Oman. In line with Oman's 2040 vision, His Excellency has been tremendously contributing in translating His Majesty's vision to adapt the advanced technologies to boost the national economy. The title of his keynote is Digital Economy in Oman Strategies and Opportunities. Please join me in welcoming His Excellency Dr. Ali Shedani to address the audience.
طيب صباح الخير. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. I'm very honored and pleased to present to a very distinguished audience a few slides about the outlook of digital economy in Oman and what the government is doing to enable and grow the digital economy in the country. So again, thank you very much for this opportunity. And considering the fact that this is a scientific panel and full of academics, my presentation is going to be more strategic but not technical. But hopefully it's going to help all of us understand where do we go and what's the future direction is for the digital economy in Oman, inshallah. So Oman is not new when it comes to digital economy. There has been so many efforts, so many projects, visions and plans in digital economy since late 1990s, early 2000s till today. And as a result of all that, well, maybe before that, I have to say that His Majesty Sultan Haytham has also placed or emphasized on several occasions the importance of technology, digital transformation, usage of AI and different technologies in government operations as well as different economic sectors. So I wanted to share a few data points on where we are today in terms of digital economy. The contribution of the digital economy to the GDP sits at around 2% of the GDP. And that is not a very significant contribution. And we're looking forward in the government to grow that contribution by 5-folds in the coming 20 years, inshallah. Oman is ranked fairly well among other nations in the world in different international rankings. So for example, Oman is ranked 50 out of 193 countries in the UN e-government report. And Oman is ranked 48 out of 173 countries in the UN Network Readiness Index report. We are ranked fairly well when it comes to cybersecurity readiness. So Oman is at the 21st position out of 193 countries in the cybersecurity readiness index report. So the message here is we are well positioned, but we are punching way low our weight, and we can do more. That's why the government have developed a roadmap for digital economy to increase and seize the opportunities that are available in the digital economy. The digital economy is expected to become a $20 trillion economy by 2025. And so there are tremendous opportunities out there for all of us, government, private sector, and academia to play a role in shaping the digital economy and future industries. A few other data points that are of interest and that also highlights the strength of Oman. Oman is very well connected when it comes to submarine cables to the rest of the world. Oman have either landed or invested in around 20 submarine cables, which is a fairly good number. And submarine cables are the cables that are gluing the continents together. All data exchange happening around the world rely on submarine cable. And it's very fortunate that Oman has a command of the submarine cable. Almost 80 to 90% of internet that we are all getting today in the country is provided here locally because of this well connectivity. And this well connectivity is helping availability, is helping redundancy, and it makes Oman a perfect place for data centers and cloud services in general. And so we are banking on this. We are banking on the number of submarine cables that we have to grow the data center industry. And by definition, growing your data center and cloud services industry, that will drag along other industries such as data science, data analytics, cybersecurity, and so on and so forth. Another interesting data point about Oman is the number of ICT graduates. So almost 18% of the graduates are from ICT. Students by default, they choose ICT and engineering in general, whereas in other parts of the world, students have to be convinced to join ICT and to join engineering and STEM education in general. We are blessed in Oman to have this good number of graduates in ICT. It's now a matter of how do we deploy this number to maximize their economic contribution to the country in ICT. Other than that, our network connectivity, the 4G, 5G coverage is very reasonable. Mobile penetration, whether it's mobile broadband penetration or general mobile subscription penetration, is also in a leading position compared to other nations in the world. So all in all, we are at a good start, but we want to achieve more. We want to do more. That's why the government last year have endorsed the National Digital Economy Program. The National Digital Economy Program is a 20-year program aligned with Vision 2040 and targets the 2040 KPIs related to digital economy. So the National Digital Economy Program focuses on three main pillars: digitizing government, digitizing businesses, and digitizing the society. So touching on really the three components of any digital economy: government, society, and businesses. And the National Digital Economy Program is realized on the ground through executive programs. And those executive programs are clustered in 5-year chunks. So every 5 years, there are executive programs to translate the objectives and to realize the objectives of the National Digital Economy Program. So what you see here is an example of the executive programs of the coming 5 years, 2021, 2025. The main objective here is that we want to grow the contribution of the digital economy from 2% to 5% in 2030 to 10% in 2040, so that digital economy becomes an economic contributor to the nation's economy, inshallah ta'ala. So this is what I was explaining. We've segmented this 20-year program into 5-year chunks. Every 5 years has its own theme, and the objective here is that technology is an enabler. It enables economic sectors, but by time we wanted technology to be a standalone industry in the country. And so that's why you see the focus today up to 2030 is to embed technology in every economic sector. So all economic sectors become digitally native. And once we have that command of technology, then we can move into the next phase, 2030 to 2040, where technology becomes a standalone industry, inshallah. This is the National Digital Economy Program pyramid. At the top of the pyramid, our what we want to achieve, which is Vision 2040. The pillars that I have explained: digitizing government, businesses, and society. Then there are a few targets that we want to achieve. Those are the targets of Vision 2040, and I'll come to it in the next slide. Then the lower side of the pyramid, this is the changing part every 5 years. This is what we will change every 5 years, depending on how well we did the previous 5 years and what do we want to achieve in the next 5 years. So what we have fixed so far is what we want to do in the coming 5 years. And as you can see, there are a few executive programs, starting from the right-hand side, the e-commerce program, which is an active program now, championed by Ministry of Commerce, Industry and Investment Promotion. So as you can see, the National Digital Economy Program, it's orchestrated and aligned by the Ministry of Transport, Communication, Information Technology, but it's actually executed by different government entities as well, because it's a national program. It's not a program just for the Ministry of Transport, Communication, Information Technology. The next program that I want to highlight is the AI and Advanced Technology Program. This is a program that we have published last month, and I'm going to touch on it later on in the presentation, inshallah. The other one is Infrastructure Program, which is now under the supervision of the TRA. There are a few other programs like Digital Industry Program, cybersecurity, and we've announced the cybersecurity development program yesterday. And the focus here is we want to look at cybersecurity not as a source of threat, but as a source of opportunity. Cybersecurity industry is growing rapidly, and so how do we prepare youth? How do we prepare the industry? How do we seize this opportunity for Oman to lead in the cybersecurity industry, developing an industry and innovation in cybersecurity? The other one is the space program, which is something that is fairly new. The Ministry of Transport, Communication, Information Technology was mandated to develop a national space program, and we have been working on this for the last year. And we are hopeful that we will soon announce the details of the space program. And the space program will explain exactly what do we want to achieve in terms of space and space applications in Oman. I can't say much about it right now because it's still not finalized, but please stay tuned. And once this is endorsed by the cabinet, it's going to be announced, inshallah. Obviously, fintech is another big area. CBO is leading that front. And so the message here is the National Digital Economy Program is a container of executive programs executed by different entities and well governed by the cabinet. And the objective, obviously, is to achieve Vision 2040 objectives. Vision 2040 have outlined three main objectives related to digital economy, which is our ranking in the UN e-government development report, our ranking in the Network Readiness Index report, and the third one is the ranking in the future readiness for the future production index. In the coming 5 years, our focus area is going to be on developing cybersecurity, capitalizing on submarine cables, and growing the data centers, cloud services industry, adopting fourth industrial revolution technologies, particularly AI, in different economic sectors such as logistics, mining, tourism, and so on and so forth. The AI program is a program that we've announced last month, and we have identified few objectives out of the AI program. I really encourage all of you to visit our website and download the program document. It provides a lot of information about the current status of AI in Oman and what is the future objective and what are the areas that we are focusing on as a government. And we feel that there are competitive advantages for Oman to accelerate its effort when it comes to AI because of many reasons. Some of them I have already mentioned before. And Oman have already started AI implementation in several areas, in especially health tech, in health technology, using AI for breast cancer, for chest diseases. In the energy sector, there is a prime example in PDO where they use the brass where they have a project called the brass, and they use AI to analyze well data to make better decisions when it comes to future exploration and maintenance of equipment. In the agriculture sector as well, the million palm tree project is using drones with AI capabilities to spray pesticides and for implants and so on. And in the public sector as well, there has been good achievements when it comes to the usage of smart meters for electricity and water. The AI program focuses on four main pillars. The first pillar is advancing and adopting AI in economic sectors. The second one is building the capabilities and the skills in AI. The third one is on the usage of AI in strategic sectors such as health and education. And finally, proper governance, laws and code of conduct and ethics around AI. I want to conclude with this. The ministry have also launched a program called Makeen last 2 months ago. And Makeen is a program that focuses on upskilling Omanis to make them ready for the job market. We are targeting 10,000 Omanis to be upskilled in the coming 3 years through 5 different streams. The first stream is coding bootcamps, where we engage young Omanis in a 4 to 6 months specialized coding and data bootcamps. The second stream is we want to focus on micro-credentials, advanced degrees in very specialized areas that can help youth to become freelancers and to start offering services outside Oman borders. And there are so many platforms that are offering these kind of courses, such as Coursera, Udemy, and others as well. The third stream is professional training in specific technologies, Oracle, SAP, Microsoft, and so on. The fourth stream is supporting the certifications. You all know how important professional certification is for graduates to get better jobs and better career opportunities. So we are working on subsidizing the cost of certificates to help students get certificates to improve their employability. And the last one is tech competitions. So here we're talking about international competitions, hackathons, and so on. Last week, we concluded Oman Code Race. It's a code race, a coding competition. And Oman Code Race had 3 different branches. The first branch was for students, school students. 1,200 students from schools across the country have participated in the code race. The second branch was college students. We had around 50 teams from across colleges and universities in Oman. And the third branch was Gulf College code race, where we had participation from Gulf countries, and the competition was between all Gulf states, but at the university level, to compete solving problems through programming languages. We are also going to have a regional event next month, Hawaii competition, where we expect around 1,000 participants are going to take place in this competition. So through competitions, we want students, graduates, youth to get into that mood of racing, competing, trying to become better, self-education, and so on. And that is very much required in this ever-changing domain of technology. So I will conclude here, and I don't want to take more of your time. I know the next speaker is Dr. Ahmed, and I know that his presentation is going to be 10 times more interesting than this one. So I will stop here, and the final message here is we have great ambitious dreams, but it can only be achieved if we all work together, government, academia, and industry, inshallah. Shukran jazeelan.
Thank you, Your Excellency, Dr. Ali Shedani. We're also thrilled to have Dr. Ahmed Al-Mashari as our second keynote speaker. Dr. Ahmed Al-Mashari holds a PhD in Computer Science and Engineering from Penn State University. He has extensively published in areas of computer architecture, embedded systems, digital logic, wireless networks, and artificial intelligence. He was the recipient of the National Research Award in the ICT sector in 2020. He's currently the head of the Department of Electrical and Computer Engineering at Sultan Qaboos University. He will be talking about the role of academia in upskilling students in IR4. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Ahmed Al-Mashari.
السلام عليكم. كيف الحال? Your Excellency, distinguished guests, great audience, I'm very happy to be here, but at the same time, I'm concerned. I'm a bit upset with Dr. Musa. He put me right after His Excellency, and that's a lot of pressure, so I'll try my best to match his talk. I'll try. So I'm here to talk about two topics, IR4 and academia. One is very interesting, one is not, and I leave it to you to decide which one is which, but I'll try to my best to keep it as interesting as possible. Before I start, I want to acknowledge a few people. So I want to acknowledge the co-founders of the IBS Lab, which I'm going to talk about today, Dr. Shah Salim and Professor Had Producer. I also want to thank the RAs, postdoc, and research collaborators, whom I borrowed some of the slides from the work that we have worked together on. And I also want to thank my colleagues in the College of Engineering IR4 committee, I want to make sure I don't forget anyone. Dr. Rashid Hajri, Dr. Amri Ahmedi, Dr. Nasser Askaria, Dr. Shama Aloush, and Dr. Mohamed Beit we worked together on a committee that is basically related to IR4, and I borrowed some of the slides that I'm going to show you today. Okay. And I also want to thank our supporters and sponsors. who have helped us in getting the outcomes that you will see some of today as samples. Okay, so this is the overview. So I'll talk about IR4 technologies and challenges, the role of academia, the modernization of the ECE programs, and EIBS lab. I know a lot of acronyms, but throughout the presentation I will explain things to you. Okay, so I'll start with IR4. So unless you have been in a coma for the last 5 years, I assume you should know something about IR4. And I just have 2 slides, so bear with me. So IR4 is basically a term coined in 2017 by Klaus Schwab. He is the founder of the WEF. And basically, it doesn't refer to one particular technology, but it's a whole host of technologies. So you've heard today about IoT, AI, machine learning, robotics, 3D printing, and so on and so forth. And the main, I would say, features or attributes of this revolution is that it's creating jobs, but it's also destroying jobs. Jobs being destroyed since the 60s when automation started to emerge in factories. But we've been creating jobs in a rate higher than destroying them. What happens is that during Corona, we have seen a break even. So number of jobs created is equal to number of jobs destroyed. And this is very alarming flag. And that's why if we talk about the pros, now we have better access to information, thanks to Google, of course, high quality, cheaper products. Now we have, thank you, technology. Can you still hear me? Okay, now I can move. Now I'm more relaxed. Okay? So, now I'm more academic. So, we have now factories, full production line, has only 2 engineers supervising the production line. Whenever you think about factories, you think of hundreds of people, workers working in that factory. Now it's only 2. This increases the product quality. It reduces significantly the price, but of course it's on the expense of destroying jobs. We have a significant increase in the life expectancy because of the breakthroughs in medical sector, and we're expecting to see less road fatality injuries because of unmanned vehicles, self-driving vehicles. On the other hand, we have increased concerns about the unemployability I talked about before, concerns about the privacy and security, especially when you talk about the cyberspace, weaponized robots. I don't know if you remember Terminator back in the 80s and 90s. Would that be a reality or not? And the rise of hate speech in social media. And I hope you paid the $8 to Elon Musk. So when you talk about challenges, number one, it's no longer that we need people who know how to make robots or how to make unmanned vehicles. Now we're talking about we need to have qualified people who can debug, develop, troubleshoot, know how to handle these machines because they're going to be reality in the next 5 to 10 years. So we need to have this critical mass of developers who are able to work with these machines. We heard both Dr. Musa and His Excellency talking about IoT. You have to have an infrastructure. IoT is just a repackaging of WSN, wireless sensor networks. Wireless sensor networks, by definition, it's wireless. So you have to have wireless communication. Also, once you have IoT, you have this huge amount of data that's being pumped out from these sensors. It will be sent to the servers to be processed. And usually the processing has to be in real time or semi-real time. So if you want that to happen, you have to have proper cloud and edge computing set in place. And regulations, we need to have regulations that manage all this robotics and AI. And we actually have a discipline called roboethics. You want to make sure that robotics and AI, they preserve life and they preserve the dignity of humans. And that's it. This is what we're going to say about IR4, and now we'll talk about something else. So what's the role of academia? I know whenever you see this slide, the first thing comes to your mind is that, okay, here is another person who's going to theorize, يتفلسف علينا. I'll try to keep falsafa to the minimum, just a few slides, and then I'll show you a lot of practice that we have done with students, just to convince you that whatever I preach here, it can actually be practiced. So first of all, academicians, they are expected to help students to gain the knowledge and have the skill set and the experience with IR4 technologies. And even it's not only with technicalities and skills and knowledge, but it goes beyond that. You have to change the way of thinking. So students have to become more innovative in their thinking. Their thinking goes out of the box. And they have to be critical in their thinking. They should be better problem solvers. And above all, you have to show them how to learn. So this goes into lifelong learning. And we have to strengthen the collaboration with the industry by using IR4 technology to solve their problems. And if I can show you this, it basically summarizes the whole thing. 3 pillars. You have theory and practice, you have partnership, and then you have multidisciplinary. You have to strike the balance between knowledge that you give to students, which is usually a lot of theory, and then the practice, which is skill sets. And that's what we try to do. We want students to know about theory and technicalities, but at the end of the day, you have to take them to the labs, and you want them to try themselves. You want them to practice and develop. And I'll show you actually samples today of the students' own products. One thing that we have learned in the last few years, if you really want to have better curriculums, better courses, go to the industry, convince them to work together in a project, learn from that project, involve students as research assistants, and then pass on the knowledge and the skill set to the students. It's a very healthy ecosystem. You learn, and then you pass the knowledge to somebody else. At least I am a sole believer in this. I don't know about you. Again, I always refer to IoT because a lot of people know about IoT. When you talk about IoT, the first thing that comes to your mind is just a piece of device that sends data. It goes beyond this. First, you need somebody who is electronic instrumentation to build the sensor. You need somebody with materials to have the proper materials in that sensor. You need the telecommunication people to send the data to the servers. You need the computer guys, whether they're engineers or scientists, to be able to process that data and give you knowledge and trends out of it. So you have this multidisciplinary people working together from different backgrounds. This is essential. It's not really, it's not just luxury to work with people from the other side of the aisle just to show that you are being, being able to work with others. It's something that you have to do, otherwise you will not be able to compete. So, I'll show you 2 practices, or I should say 2 implementations, or whatever I mentioned before. Number 1 is the modernization of the ICIITB program, and then number 2, I'll talk about the IBS lab. For the modernization of the ICIITB program, just to let you know, in the College of Engineering, we have 4 departments. The most important one is ICIITB, of course. And I don't have to talk about the others. Dr. Khalfan, sorry about that. So we have in the electrical computer engineering department, we have 2 programs. One is for undergrad, one for postgrad. My focus here is on the undergrad, the Bachelor of Engineering, Computer Engineering program. We have 4 specializations. We have reviewed all of them, and we have modernized all 4. And back then, Professor Mohammed Al-Badi, who was the head of the department, and big portion of the modernization and restructuring was actually under his leadership. So after going through these 4 and modernizing all of them, we had to rename 2 of these specializations. And I know you might say, okay, you just renamed and you think this is modernization. Believe me, it goes beyond that. We actually have surveyed industry, students, graduates. We have reviewed 50+ programs around the world, Europe, North America, even in Far East Asia. We have gone through all these programs, and we have tried to find out what are the trends, what are the expected talents, skills, knowledge that has to be instilled in students so that they can address the challenges of the future. And we have come up with this list of topics. For example, if you talk about the electricity sector, power systems, you have to have, I hope this works, yes, we have to have smart grids. You have to have electric vehicles. energy storage, sustainable energy. When you talk about communication, you have to have 5G, you have to have satellite communication, computer engineering, AR, VR, AI, ML, cybersecurity, big data analytics, and so on and so forth. Now, we took that, and then we started going through the courses. Whatever is obsolete, throw it away, and then we modernize courses and introduce new courses. And these are examples of either modernized or new courses. Now we have courses for machine learning, particularly for engineers. So we don't really go into the math and boring theory. We go directly into applications. We want our engineers to use algorithms and use systems to have products. So to focus more on engineering aspects rather than science. Intelligent applications in robotics and drones, satellite communication, telecom system security, embedded vision systems, renewable electricity generation, smart grid systems or smart cities. Again, these are only samples. I don't have much time to go through them. But if you are interested, just go and scan this QR code. When I came in the morning, Dr. Ahmed Amani was telling me, look, the whole conference program is in this QR. Dr. Ahmed, the whole department is in this QR. You should scan it. Okay. Now, last part, and I think, at least for me, this is the most interesting part of the presentation, the Embedded and Interconnected Vision Systems Laboratory. So basically, we have established a laboratory, and the objective was we want to have a platform, an arena, where students, researchers, entrepreneurs can work together to develop solutions in these 4 areas: embedded vision systems, AI, particularly for UBS and robotics, augmented reality, and hardware acceleration EIDS. Now, whenever you hear the words students, researchers, entrepreneurs, what you have in your mind, this guy is just making things up. Believe me, we have projects where we have worked closely with the industry, other projects where we have brought people from startups, entrepreneurs to work with our students, okay? And we can discuss during the QA if you're interested. So what are the services that this lab provide? It's a place where we can do teaching, we interact with the students. It's a place where we do R&D. A lot of R&D that we do is in this lab. We do workshops and trainings, and also we facilitate the collaboration with entrepreneurs and startups in the areas that were mentioned previously. The lab was officially inaugurated on 8th of March 2020, and guess what happened a week after that? Lockdown pandemic, right? And then we have to cease all activities for some time. But now we are back to normal, and inshallah you will hear a lot about us. So this is the 3D model of the lab. This is where we do the teaching and experiments for the students. This is the part where we have an indoor drone system, where we do all the R&D and we test the controls that we develop before we go outside and do the outdoor stuff. This is I'm just going through the equipment and facilities that we have in the lab. So this is the indoor drone system that we have in the lab. We have a bunch of unmanned vehicle systems on the ground, in the air, under the water, whatever you want, we have it. We do a lot of remote sensing. We do the visual spectrum. We do infrared, thermal. We do multispectrum. And some of the applications that you will see later on the slides are actually based on these equipment. Okay. Maybe if you can start this video. I want to do a little propaganda for the lab since I'm here. So if you notice, my students, they're very good actors. They pretend as if they're paying attention, right? It's only because the cameras are around. Usually they're not like that. Okay, so now I'm switching gears. I want to show you the outcomes of that lab. So now we have modernized the curriculum. We have a lab where students can innovate and work together. Let's see what they can do. I'll start with samples of a course project. So students usually have 4 to 6 weeks to implement the project. And then I'll switch to the final year project, which usually students have much more time. They have about 9 months to get it done. If you can start this, please. So this was actually during Corona. And we asked students to work on a project where they implement a system based on embedded vision systems. Embedded machine vision, I'm sorry. So what this group did, they have this footage where they can automatically detect persons, and then they use measurement calibration to estimate the distance between two individuals. And if that distance is less than a certain threshold, then that would be considered as a violation of social distancing. The idea is just very simple, but the implementation took time, and they have really employed all what they have learned in the course, and they use the facilities in the lab. The next one, please. I think yes. This is post-corona, right? Now students can go out. But this group, this very interesting group, they went and mounted a camera on top of one of the bridges, and they took footage of these vehicles. And what they do is that they do behavior analytics of drivers. Notice that it's automatically determines that you have 3 lanes, and then you have this minibus make an illegal crossing. Not only that, it counts the vehicles. It determines that you have a car stopping. So this is, it's not, it looks easy, it's not, believe me. Because what you have to do now, it's measurement calibration, the determination of the speed of the car. And then when it slows down, you know that it's basically coming to a stop. Not only that, it can tell you which car is overspeeding, which car is slowing down. I know you don't like this. It's only in the lab, right? When it's out there, I'll let you know. Right? It's not out there yet. I didn't show it to ROP yet, and I hope no ROP. If you can skip to minute number 1, I don't know if you can do that or not, just to save the time. Just 1:06. Right. Yeah, good enough. Okay. So notice now, the training, I don't know what they call it in English, right? That vehicle is slowing down. This is an issue. That can cause either car jump or worse, accidents. So it actually calculates and it tells you this is a slowing car, and this can be reported. And then, a few seconds later, you'll have an overspeeding car, right? Which will happen very soon. Now, I need to tell you that what you see here in front of you is not really implemented on a high-end server. Here's the catch. We tell students you implement the whole system on a small Raspberry Pi. We can give them workstation to work on. We have GPUs, but we don't do that. We want students to work in a very restricted environment. A tiny processor, little memory, little hard disk. Can you implement the system? And that's why you can see it's a little bit slow because of that, because of the constraints. But still, students manage to do it. Now, I'll go through a set of projects that were executed as part of the students' final year project. So they have about 9 months to do it. How much time do I have?
I have all the time.
Guys, I hope you're not so hungry, right? All right, so what I did, I split the project according to their application domain. So first I'll do wildlife and environment. I don't know if you hear these news from time to time. You have these poachers, illegal hunters, they would infiltrate to wild reserves and they kill animals, okay, endangered animals. And it's very common, by the way. We had the chance to work closely with the Office of Environment Conservation. It used to be under Diwan, now it's under Environment Authority. And what happened is that you have this vast wild reserves. For example, the one in Jaruni, the Oryx Wild Reserve, probably that's what's the common name. It's about 2,000 kilometers. Very spacious, different terrain. It's very difficult to have people, inspectors and rangers to be there to protect the animals. And when you get a call that we suspecting that somebody has infiltrated. By the time you get there, that guy all that they need is just five minutes. Shoot the gazelle, put it in the truck, and leave. Okay. So they asked us to help them, and they said that if you can at least tell us where are the concentration of the hertz, then we know how to dispatch our inspectors. So we said, okay, we have this group of students. We went to Ras al-Shajar, I'm doing real-time translation from Arabic to English. Ras al-Shajar Wildlife Reserve, which is in Qayyad. And it's interesting there because they have different kind of animals. And what they wanted us to do is to send the drone and be able to automatically detect the concentration of animals. And what the student did, they could basically combine drones, remote sensing, and deep learning to be able to count the number of animals per species and report it. And that's what the student did. In fact, when we were there, the guys at the reserve, the inspectors, they told us, can you also count number of donkeys? I said, last time I checked, donkeys are not very endangered. Actually, we have a lot of them. They said, that's the problem. Donkeys, they also infiltrate to the wild reserve, and they eat gazelles' food. So they compete them on their food. We want to know where these donkeys are, so we know how to drive them off. So we did that as well. This is all done automatically, right? Another project, if you can start the video, please. So, from time to time, you would see these documentaries where they sink a boat or they sink a ship, and after some time, coral reefs will start to build on top, and then fish will take that as a habitat. So we do have that in Oman frequently. The problem is to send somebody down there to check if the fish are actually thriving. It's not only costly, but you cannot do it all the time, and sometimes it's risky. So what we've been asked to do, can you use these ROVs? ROV, remotely operated vehicle. Just think of it as an undersea drone. I don't know if that's a proper term. Excuse me, Your Excellency. I'm just taking my leisure here, saying whatever I could. Right, so can you send this ROV and automatically count number of fish per species? We said, okay, we'll try. So what you can see here in the next slide, this is the students' work. Not only they can detect species, but they can also give you a tally, how number of fish, and confidence. So for example, the system thinks that this is a grouper, 99%, but this might be improved because 63% confidence rate. And this is excellent because now you can just send the ROV, dispatch it anytime you want, get the tally, and now you have a better understanding of this artificial coral reef. Okay, if you can start the video on the left first. Left. Okay. When you have these landmarks, forts and castles, old forts and castles, from time to time you want to do restoration, or you just want to have a 3D model so that you can use it for propaganda or tourism, whatever it is. Problem, it takes normally weeks to do this 3D modeling. It's a very tedious job. And the challenge that I give to students, can you do that in a few hours? So what you see on the left, that drone was flown in the area behind the cultural center in Skiu. And then what you see on the left is the 3D model of that landmark, which was generated only in a few hours. Okay? Again, this is a combination of three things: unmanned vehicles, remote sensing, and then machine vision. If you give the students facilities, if you give them the logistics, believe me, they can do wonderful stuff. Just stay away and let them innovate. Okay, last one, precision agriculture. This is interesting because the students who worked on this project, they won the second prize for the UN competition for rural women in MENA region. What they wanted to do is that, can we help farmers to have an idea about the health state of their farms? We had lots of discussion with the students. One way to do it is to send messages and send technical details, but we said we cannot do that. Always think of the user. The user is a farmer who is not really aware of technicalities. So you need to provide something very, very simple, but informative at the same time. So just to keep this short, I'll show you this image. So this was done automatically by the algorithms developed by the students. This is the picture that was taken by the drone. And then this is after analyzing it. What you see here is that the algorithm was able to segregate between farm area and non-farm area. Not only that, it gives you color code to areas that are under stress. So if it is yellow or red, something is going on there, and you can put your resources in that particular area. Just to give you another example, notice how it understands this is not a farmed area, it's a pathway, and it will go analyze the other areas. This is doing much better than this. Anybody can look at this image. You don't need to teach anybody how to use it. It's just clear, just color coding. Okay. And that's it. I'm done. Now, before you clap, one more QR code. This is a different QR code, and it's a different account. So this is an account that we have created for the lab. If you're interested to learn more about the lab in terms of projects, what I've shown you here today is only the students' projects. We have other projects where we do R&D with the industry. So if you're interested, please do it now and follow. Show some support. Okay? The whole lab is in this one, Dr. Ahmed. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Dr. Ahmed. Now we will open the floor for questions. If anybody has a question, we'll give you the microphone. So introduce yourself and to whom would you like to ask this question?
Good day, everyone. My name is Fahad Ibn Masood. I'm one of the faculty members from MCBS Aviation faculty specifically. My question is to the second presenter. It was a very well informed, very well placed and timed, I believe, as well. So considering the projects that are being run, and the second slide or the second project that was mentioned regarding the cars and the range maintenance, is it having the capacity to have either real-time or near real-time information sharing, or is this recorded and then analyzed?
Thank you for your question. Not only semi-real time, now we can have workstations that can do 1,000 frames per second in terms of processing. This one was slow, as I said, because it was running only on a bit system, a tiny system that has 4 processors, each one's running 1 gigahertz. It's a very tiny processor, so you wouldn't expect it to run in real time. But yes, you can even go beyond that. It's easy now with the GPUs.
Thank you, Doctor.
So even endpoint processing.
What do you mean by endpoint processing?
So on the camera you will have the CPU capabilities.
Right. So there are 2 ways to do this. You have the centralized, decentralized. Centralized means that you have with the camera a little bit of intelligence. So you have a processor with algorithms. We call them smart cameras. Decentralized means that you have a way to communicate and relay frames to the server. In the server, you have powerful CPU, powerful GPUs, and it can be done. Now the choice would be, if you are in a rural area where you're not connected to servers, decentralized will not be an option. So you have to live with whatever you have. If you are in an urban area with proper communication, then you would pay for that communication delay, knowing that the processing will be done in a short amount of time, which means that overall the experience will be acceptable.
We do have another question in the back.
Assalamu alaikum. Yaqub Al-Atrili from the College of Banking and Financial Studies. I'm very happy to be here. Thank you very much for the organizers. and we can see the strategic, direction where the country is going today, and the implementation of the academia and the link between them both. Thank you very much indeed. My question to Dr. Ahmed, I guess he stated something very important. If we give the time, facilities, to our learners, they might be very productive. I can add something here. If we are good prompter, sometimes ideas are there in their mind, but they need someone to squeeze that mind. So we need bit creativity from us as academics to get these ideas out in reality. And do you have any idea of how can you just provoke their thinking and critical thinking just to get these ideas, Doctor? Thank you very much.
Thank you for your question. So, first of all, don't squeeze the students at the beginning. Don't do it. I'm serious. Squeeze them later on. For the ideas, and this is one of the things that we worked together with Professor Muhammad when he was the head of the department. We wanted to change the modality. Final year projects, in terms of scope and ideas, should come from students. It should not be mandated by academicians, because as academicians, they have their own way of thinking. They want to do things related to the research. If you want to have innovation in terms of ideas and scope, leave it to the students. And that's what we do. We tell students, go search for an idea, bring it, I can help you sculpture it, but don't rely on me to bring it. Now, once they bring the idea, the squeezing starts. Okay, you can work with them, squeeze them to make sure that they achieve the goals. So at the beginning, you have to give them some liberty and freedom to pick their own ideas. Of course, sometimes they bring ideas which looks interesting, but not well polished. And this is our role as academicians to help them polish these ideas. Thank you for your question.
We have another question. Thank you, Dr. Ahmed.
Thank you, everyone. Assalamu alaikum. Osama Rasbi from USUS. So maybe I will relate this question just to kind of broaden the scope. And when we talk about technology, especially with 4IR and so on, and maybe I would relate this to the kind of business we do with USUS in digital transformation, there is a noticeable trend, and it's not just in, let's say, in the digital sector. You can see it even in manufacturing and other areas. There is a trend to seek out the next, let's say, not really hype, because it's not hype, this is the real tangible requirements for the next phase. But there is also another sector that I think is also equally important. I wouldn't call it the traditional, but the established technologies in digital transformation that are in dire need of resources, both from academia and industry, and the sufficient push. So what would you say to that? Like what we see now, lots of innovation, let's say lots of entrepreneurship, but we also need the strong backbone behind it that is currently most of the time outsourced. I don't know if my question is clear. Thank you so much. And also thank you for the.
This is beyond me.
Yeah, I was opening it up to yes.
Shukran, Osama. I'll be perfectly honest with you, Osama. I didn't get the question. Sorry. I didn't even know that this was a question for me.
I was just opening. What I was trying to say is, we see, from my observation, we notice when we have a new drive, a new push, usually the priority is for the next big thing. AI, big data, cyber tech, biotech, agri-tech. But there's a huge layer of existing stuff that is also equally important. So my question is, I guess, open-ended in a way, is how can we drive the focus that it's also equally distributed? Because there's a huge layer that is, we say, needs to be addressed equally as important. So it's not just about AI; it's also about digital transformation and the existing technology ecosystem. So it's not about reinventing the wheel, but we also need wheels and advanced sensor on top of those wheels.
I don't know if I can adequately answer your question, but what I would say is, it's a case by case. We've seen some examples where countries, for example, they go linearly in implementation of technology in a linear fashion. So you start with the foundation, with infrastructure, and so on, and you build on it. And we've seen in some countries, some opportunities are being grasped by leapfrogging. I'll give an example. I don't have all the details in this example, but I just have few information. Some of it might not be 100% accurate, but in some countries in Africa, for example, the banking infrastructure is not there, and telecom infrastructure is not there, but they have leapfrogged in mobile payments. So if they decided to wait till the infrastructure is there and build layer on layer, they would have missed the bandwagon, the mobile payment bandwagon. So some technologies gives you opportunity to leapfrog, but not all of them. So AI, blockchain, maybe, depends on the application that we're looking for. Maybe the technology solves a problem. And that's the rule of thumb. Huh? The rule of thumb is use technology to solve a problem. Don't hold on the technology trying to find a problem to solve with that technology. Identify what is the problem and look at the suite of technologies that you have and decide which technology can solve that problem. But don't do the other way around. And that's what I see sometimes. Some countries, they hold on technologies and try to find problems to solve using that technology, whether this match is there or not.
Thank you, Your Excellency.
Since the mic is very close to me, so I will ask you a question. My name is Khalfan, and I work for Globecom. I'm also ex-PBO staff, so I'm very passionate about young Omanis, and I'm also excited to see the strategic plan that His Excellency alluded in this. What I'm asking, we need to have a mechanism in the government plus also the academia. Whenever students are in the training, they need to go for industry kind of on-the-job training. But what I find that some organizations are resistant in giving chances to the Omanis. We should have in the government a mechanism that every year this number of students have to go to all the organizations in Oman with projects already ready. But what I see, students are having to go and beg, and sometimes they go through other channels. Maybe if there's a parent working in an organization, can you please see me if I can fit in this organization? I think because we are building the what we call the generations for the future, it should be there should be a mechanism where all students have the right to go to any organization with a project in hand, and they can start working. They don't have to waste time to look for it by themselves.
Fully agree with you. When I was at Sultan Qaboos University, when I was talking to students who are on their way to go to training, the number one issue they had is to find a good training post. And that problem is still persists. It exists still today. However, I'm not very much familiar with this, but I heard of a program, maybe Dr. Ahmed can help, called ICIITB. Yes, ICIITB. And I think ICIITB is designed to solve this problem, but I don't know how successful it has been so far. Maybe Dr. Ahmed, you're closer to the academic world than me.
That is a program initiated by the Ministry of Higher Education. It involves all private and government higher education institutions, but it is going in stages. Okay, it does not cater for all, because it depends also on the contributing industries, how many they can take. But it's a 1 year of time off from college to after the third or fourth year.
Maybe I should not help with the answer, I should help with the question. Your Excellency, the Vision 2040, I can see you're talking about digital society, I can see you're talking about digital businesses and digital government. But I don't see how is the Vision 2040 contributing to the collaboration between the academics and the industry. And that, by the way, the lack of that is what is dragging down all the development and further economic development in the
أحسن شكرا دكتور. Thank you for putting me on the spot. So the National Digital Economy Program is a container of executive programs. So there are several executive programs, and one of them which has few projects that is linking industry academia is the Digital Industry Program. So the Digital Industry Program is looking after this linkage between industry, academia, and government in partnership with Ministry of Higher Education, because they are a key player in this. This is something that cannot be done alone by Ministry of Transport, Communication, Information Technology. So we have few projects. I can say one of the objectives, we have not started yet, but one of the objectives that we have is to help translate a number of research projects into actual products in ICT every year. We have not activated it yet. It is there as one of the projects, but inshallah, it's one mechanism we use to encourage the linkage between academia and industry. And you know, Doctor, back in my previous days at the Research Council, we worked on different initiatives like the technology transfer offices at universities and colleges to link university with academia. We worked on ICIITB. Again, ICIITB is a linking platform. Upgrade, I don't know if you remember, Upgrade to convert final year projects into startups. فيعني, I was saying that we are punching below our weight. We need to do more, and inshallah, things will accelerate.
One more, if you don't mind.
Okay, so our time is up, so if you can just make it quick, thank you.
If the mechanism is put, also to be sure that the students get some kind of assistance, because what I'm seeing also, some of them have no driving licenses, they have transportation issues. So if we are going to encourage the youth, we need to support them also. Some get some financial assistance, or transportation should be arranged for them so that they can go to the place of work comfortably, and it should be recognized that this is important for the country. Thank you.
Thank you all. One more question.
Assalamu alaikum. My question is with regards to technology and challenges. Technology can be bought, yeah. So we can buy technology to solve our problems. The problem with entrepreneurs are facing is getting permissions, getting the rules and regulations that work for them and not against them. So you have, for example, a company that is supposed to deliver medication, and they have to use drones, or they have to use certain technology, and they will be told, no, you can't do that because they are not, we don't have rules and regulations yet. So until actually they solve their own problems and discussions, it's 1 year or 2 years lapse. Yeah, and that entrepreneur cannot afford it anymore. And so my question is that, how do you work on solving these issues? The issue of not actually technology related directly, but rules and regulations that regulate use of technology. Sure. Whoever is responsible for making regulations, I don't know. There is no
صحيح. I admit we have this problem in some of the sectors, But we don't have them in other sectors, for example. In some other sectors, technology, usually there is always this race between regulation and innovation. Do we want to set the regulatory framework first and then allow people to innovate, or we allow innovation and then regulation will come to improve the situation? So this is an always battle, not only in Oman, everywhere around the world. But what we are trying to do is for areas where there are no regulations, let's not stop entrepreneurs. Let them work, let them start. And then we learn and we fix our regulations as we go. But it's not always easy. These conversations are very tough, very difficult. And not all government officials share the same mentality and share the same objective. It's not always easy. Lakin, this is, at least from Ministry of Transport, Communication, Information Technology, because we are responsible for startups, tech startups, this is what we try to do, to push and give room to entrepreneurs to try to unleash their potential, even if regulation is not there, and try to give comfort to regulators that things are under control. So we started an initiative called Jadara early this year. And Jadara is an initiative where we ask entrepreneurs to present their products and services, and we find a match. We try to find the entity that can make use of this product. And if this entity is resistant for one reason or the other, we give the assurance. So we back up the entrepreneurs. We back the entrepreneurs, and we give this entity assurance to use and to try the service or the product for a limited duration with agreed KPIs. So if the KPIs are achieved, this means that now this entity can start procuring the service. And through Jadara, we managed to make few breakthroughs in some sectors, but not all the sectors. So this is a culture that needs to be built up, and we need to hammer it more and more, inshallah.
Thank you, Your Excellency. I think there's one last question at the back. I promise. I think it's a student. I know everybody is hungry.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Ibrahim Al-Kandim from CPS student. So you guys basically said you are implementing AI, and AI basically stands for artificial intelligence, and it's not like a machine that you give it a set of instructions to be executed. My question is, how do you guys, can you restrict the amount of AI learning? How do you know that you field it so it doesn't learn beyond this field, and you know that it doesn't pass you?
So your question is to Dr. Ahmed or His Excellency?
Who asked the question?
Can you stand?
Why did you ask the question? I'm just kidding.
I'm just wondering, because you're giving intelligence to the machine, so it can learn by itself and it can teach itself a pattern.
Right. Okay. So if I give you a gun, you can kill somebody or protect yourself. AI is the same. It's just a technology. Either you embrace it, learn it, and keep it ready to use it for peaceful civil applications, or you can take it to the stream and make it weaponized and start killing people. We cannot just say this is dangerous, we should not do it because we don't know what could happen. We always have to be ready. It's like you buy a gun just in case somebody attacks you. I know Elon Musk is creating a lot of fuss. His way of thinking is different. He wants to use Neuralink to make humans smarter than machines. For me, to be honest, to have people to be cyborgs going around, maybe I'm old school. I'm not okay with this. We can work on AI. Let's see what are the potentials. Let's see how we can push it, how far we can push it. Our graduates, our students, they have to be aware of it. There is no limit, by the way. What you've seen me today, showing today, I'm sure that other parts of the world, they're doing much more advanced than this. So for them, probably this is nothing, at least part of it. So I think we should keep pushing, right? And we keep it peaceful as much as we can. Thank you.
Last but not least, I would like to acknowledge and thank the organizing committee for this conference, Professor Ahmed Al-Amani, Dr. Musa Al-Kindi, Professor Joseph Mani, where is he? Oh, he's there. Dr. Hudayfa Al-Abedi, he's at the back. Dr. Alexander Georgievich, I finally can pronounce your last name. Dr. Anis Takic, thank you all to MCBS faculty and staff for their relentless efforts. Respected guests, now I request Dr. Musa please to come and present commemorative gifts to our to His Excellency Dr. Ali bin Amr al-Shidani, our guest of honor and the keynote speaker for today's function. And also the Dean will present a commemorative gift to Dr. Ahmed Al-Mashari, our second keynote speaker. And I will honor our sponsors, Mr. Mohammed Al-Na'mani from Lowcom Company. And Mr. Abdullah Al-Kindi from OSUS. I wish you all a very fruitful conference. Please enjoy some refreshments and hope to see you for the remainder sessions at MCBS. Details for the full program can be accessed through the QR code. Thank you, everybody. Our VIP will be will remain here. You will be served here. Thank you, everyone, and see you at MCBS. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.